Okay, I can ask them to. Yeah, Karan, you've joined. Sorry, Karan, I just muted you. Karan,
I can hear you loud and
can you
clear.
hear me? Oh, I can hear you. Wait, you say your video's off or your video's on?
My video's off.
Okay, it's on. It's off on purpose.
Yeah.
That's good. Hi, Dhruv. Is also done. Allow her to talk.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the RMIT Open Art Interaction webinars. Today I've got Srushti Deshmukh. She's an IAS officer under probationary training, achieved an All India rank of 5, the women topper of 2019 batch. So, Srushti, UPSC exams is one of the toughest exams.
Yeah, as they say.
It's regarded as one of the toughest exams. And you know, how many papers did you have to do, like exams?
All right. So the exam is like in 3 stages. First is the prelims, in which we've got 2 papers. One is general studies. The other is about CSAT, which is a aptitude test. Then we have mains, in which we have like 9 papers, and then we have the interview. It's a 3-phase examination and a lot of papers.
So, you know, when you talk about prelims, that's the first stage of the examination. And just for the viewers,
Yes.
you know, prelims, how many exams, like how many papers do you have to do in prelims?
Prelims is basically it's 2 papers, but if you're talking about subjects, then we have 5 of them: history, geography, economics, environment, and science and tech.
So with five subjects, 2 papers, how long does it normally take for
Yeah.
one paper?
We're given like 2 hours. For one, see, GS is one paper that we call it.
Yep.
Talking about subjects, all questions are mixed. You can't say which subject has more weightage. It varies from year to year. We get 2 hours to attempt the paper.
So you get
And there are 100 questions. Yes,
100
there are
questions
100 questions.
in each
It's an
paper.
objective type. Yeah.
So 100 questions in each paper. So you have to go through the prelims, then you have to go to the mains. Mains, you've got 4 or 5 papers, I guess, right?
Mains is in total we've got 9 papers, and that is a descriptive one. So 4 GS general studies, 2 papers of optional, 1 of essay, and one of English language, and 1 of native language.
So, so you have to do an English and a native language. You can choose Sanskrit, Hindi, or
You can use any. You can choose anything, Kannada, Marathi, Hindi, whatever.
and then followed by the interview stage. That's the final stage.
Yes, the final stage is the interview stage, and that's the last one.
But like before we proceed, like the about your excitement and things. What made you in the first place apply for IAS examination, or what made you think that you wanted to become that IAS officer?
Yeah. So
Proceed.
I don't know. I mean,
Prashant,
here.
can you mute your microphone? Done. You can proceed.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. In my childhood, in my school days, I might have read somewhere, or somebody might have told me, but I had this in the back of my mind that I wanted to be an IAS officer even before knowing what it is. That's how our childhood dreams play out. We don't know exactly what is it, but we think we're going to do that. But it was in my college when I came, and I thought about it more. and I realized that a job of an engineer, I was doing chemical engineering, so a job of an engineer would not be very satisfying for all my career and life. So I thought that I need to go into something where I could be contributing to the society, and then since I had this, the only thing that I could do was study, have knowledge. Other things, I mean, I rejected the other options like going to into the politics or working with an NGO or something like that. I thought that this is something where I can reach on the ability of my studies and knowledge, and that's why I finally zeroed in on giving the exam.
And so when did this start? Like, that you wanted to sit, like, did it start through your college days, or, did it start when you were like really young? Okay, I'm going to attempt this exam. Like, when were you so sure? When were you that confident that, that you?
Yes. Yes. So when I joined college, in the second year of my college, when I started to know more about my own subjects and I got to know more about campus placements and house life in corporate and this and that, that's when in the second year of my college, that's when I decided that no, I have to go into the field of civil service, and this is something that I'm going to do. And I finally got myself determined that yes, this is it.
So, college in India, it's a huge thing, because I can easily say, doing a bachelor's or, your undergraduate in Australia, you only do 24 subjects. That's the most, and an engineering person, even in Australia, they do 24 subjects. And,
Okay.
one has to clear 48. At least 48 or 49 subjects in this kind of
Yeah.
course.
Yes.
And you've also
Yes, that
mentioned in
is
a
true.
couple of your interviews that, you were preparing for UPSC while being in the college, while clearing the college exams and as well as the UPSC exam.
Yes. Yes.
How did you handle
So,
this?
it was quite tough. There were a lot of issues. I'll just open up on what kind of issues I faced. So when I first decided that I have to give this exam, the thing was that there was no guidance available at my home. So you're like venturing into something where nobody in your family has ever sat the exam, and I mean that's completely new. That was one thing. Second was that I have to manage college as well. But then I somehow did it. I gave extra time. I used to come back from college and then again just give myself 1 hour to freshen up, and then again sat for studying for UPSC. So those days were very tough when I used to you have to attend entire college from morning 9 to evening 5, come back and study again for 4 to 5 hours. But I think it was those years that have really allowed me to crack the exam in my first attempt. And I really thank the Srushti of second, third year of college who worked very hard. And now when I look back, I'm like, how did I do it? But then there was some zeal, there was some kind of determination which allowed me to do it. And yes, another thing was not just determination, proper planning. I used to chalk out the plan really well. Whenever I found that, I now have my college exams, so 1 month before, I used to chalk out a plan how I would be studying the college subjects so that they don't take a hit during my UPSC preparation. So proper planning and management.
And this 9 to 5 college, it's Monday to Saturday, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. See, Australian viewers, 9 to 5 for us, college is basically 3 days. That's about 20 hours in a week. She had to go 9 to 5. That's about 8 hours every single day for 6 days. And mentally, what was going through, because many people, UPSC exams are attempted, and millions of people, like I can easily say 1 crore at least will try applying for the exams.
No, 10 lakh apply for the exam, then 7 lakh of them who write the exam. So yeah, it's a huge number that way.
And the age range, because it from 21 until for depends on what caste or depends on what group you
Yes.
are, and
Yes.
people can still attempt it over and over again. Some people have unlimited number of trials, so you're obviously competing with someone that could be 42 or 43 years of age, and you can also be competing with someone on the other end that has tried it for 5 or 6 times, more experience.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, these are the things that keep going on in your mind. And for me, especially since I was in Bhopal, so I come from Bhopal and I've studied all my life there. And the hotspot of preparation for UPSC in India, as people might be knowing, is Delhi. And since I had college, I couldn't go there. So one thing always kept running in the back of my mind that, I'll be losing out on something. I'll not be able to access something. That feeling of being a deficit in preparation, I guess that was the feeling which drove me more, because that is why I felt that, I should not miss. So I put on more efforts of my own, and that way.
So was it like, excitement, like, obviously, when you're learning something, right, and a lot of competitions there, there's something that tends, to go in your mind, either, anxiety, or, whether, you will get it or not, whether, the stress of, the stress of, getting all these things together. And
Absolutely.
going through your mind, are you able to walk us through, mentally or emotionally, what were you feeling?
Yeah. So when you mention it, I'm reminded of that one diagram. I guess you might have all seen. There's this mountain that we make and water going up. So from the top, you can just see the success, the good things, and good things that happen. But bottom of the water, there's so many of there. There are sleepless nights. There are nights where you cry. There are times when you feel you won't be able to do it. There are people who tell you that you're too young to do this. There are people who tell you that you shouldn't be taking this seriously. So I went through all of that, and it was tough to manage the time. It was tough emotionally for me, because I was seeing some of my friends going out, having fun, doing what they wanted to. But here I was studying, and because I myself was telling myself that, my parents put me no pressure. They said, you can manage on your own. But it was me myself who was putting myself in that position. So it was tough that way. Managing time was tough. Keeping away from all the outings and weekends and birthday parties was tough. Then not going to and in India, of course, if you all, I guess that we have this thing that if any cousin's marriage is there, you have to be there and you can't miss it. So there's this family pressure, that you have to be there, and then you'll convince them that, sorry, I won't be coming because of my exam. So a lot of things have gone into it. And but at the end of the day, I now feel that whatever I missed out on, I have paid that price, but the result is worth it.
And definitely, like, missing out on those things, obviously.
And one thing I'll just add on. What I also learned from this is that anything which you want from your life, anything that you want to happen, you will have to pay the price. So don't just want something. Be ready to pay the price. And if you're ready to pay the price, I'll tell you, goddamn, nothing can actually stop you if you're willing to pay the price.
And when you talked about, like, missing like parties, and obviously family things that were going on, and obviously in Australia it's a bit different, like, we can get away, because of things. But normally in India, the family pressures, or it's a bit too high, right?
Yeah, it is. And since it's a open heart interaction, I'm opening up. So I had so many incidences where I used to fight with my mom. Mama, I don't want to come, and she'd be like, "Ek din mein kya ho jayega?" To say that what will happen in a single day. And but for me, I always used to tell her this, that for you, it'll be just me spending like 2 hours with that person or in that place. But what happens with our minds is, if we go out for 2 hours, and so we have that cassette playing in our mind before it, we have that cassette playing in our mind when we come back, or maybe till 1 week. It keeps on lingering in your mind. So I wanted to keep myself away from all those distractions. And so how, I maneuvered through a lot of fights at my home and with my friends.
And when we talk about this, did this quite impact the social aspect of your life? And obviously the price has been paid now, right? You are an IAS officer under training, and you've achieved such a fabulous thing. But what would be the case, you're going through the preparation, and you're sacrificing that social aspect of your life, either getting distance with that, losing the emotional touch, or losing that social life. What were
So
you
yeah, that happens. But I was lucky enough to have some very close friends, which were very few in number, just 2, 3, 4. And despite all the quarrels, my mother was there, my father was there. I have a little young brother, who is in 8th grade now. He's like 10 years younger than me. So he was a child, and he's there encouraging me, motivating me. He used to be there. My grandma's there at home. My grandpa was also there during those times. So I would say the family was there, and a couple of friends was there. So I missed out on the larger social network that I might have had, but then I had a close group of friends and family supporting me. So another takeaway that I learned from this entire journey was that you can't just cut off yourself from the entire thing. You need to have some close people to confide into your feelings. You need some of the people who will be there no matter what. And if you have that circle, then you can afford to cut off the larger social network and concentrate on your goal.
So, like mentioning that, you worked on that, that social circle, as you mentioned, and, college days in India, right? There are a lot of things, that happen, for example, too many people are in one college, let me say that, a lot of,
Oh, yeah, you
are you
did.
able to tell me, like, how many people were in your class, like, 50, 60 at least, or your group?
Yeah, yeah. We were a class of 60 in
Yes,
the
how many
batch of.
classes were there?
So basically, chemical engineering is a subject which not many people are into.
Yep.
So that way, I just had 60 of us, the batch of 18 of chemical engineers. But in other streams, for example, electrical and electronics, computer science, information technology, there we had about 120 plus students in each stream. So for me, it was not much.
So, like 60 people in your class, 60 different stories, 60 different things. And, obviously there must be some interaction, right, happening. And,
Yes, of course, definitely.
so 9 to 5, let's say you go to college, and then, you obviously do at least, 1 hour of preparation every single day, right? Just to stay, either
Yeah,
current
yeah.
affairs or something like that. And,
Yes.
what was going in your mind? Were you affected, or, were you ever thinking that, I might be losing my college friends?
Yes, it happened so that I used to share with them towards the later part that, I'm into something like this. So good enough, they used to share with me some notes which I might have missed, or some things that I might have missed. So that way they really helped me out in my preparation for the college subjects. But yes, I had a couple of those feelings where I felt that I'm not going out, I'm not moving with them, I'm not spending that amount of time with them. But back in my mind, I knew that the priority, it's more about prioritizing. And somewhere I had prioritized in my mind that for me at this point, this exam is something which is the most important thing. And so I sailed through it. But yes, I had my lows as well.
And so as soon as you found out the result, right, media attention, everything, but what was in your mind, like, more than the media attention, more than everyone's attention, you've achieved it. So you've been working hard since the second year, third year, and you've been working hard for the last 3 or 4 years of your life until that moment. What was,
Yes.
how did you find out, like, you went through the portal, right?
Yeah, so it was my best friend who did it for me. I
Yeah.
never used to see my results. So in that series, he saw that result. He called me up. He was all crying, and then I opened it and I checked it like thrice, 4 times, 5 times. That it's my name and it's that number against that number. So yeah, it was out of the world for me. I shouted and I went to my mom. I called my father, and it was like an amazing. It's like a moment which I won't be able to ever forget in my life.
And then, did you ever feel like a lot of load was off your mind? Like, study, and then all of a sudden, like, you've done it.
What happens is after the interview, you stop studying because you don't feel like studying for the next year, and you're like you don't know if you'll be through this year. So I had stopped studying for the past for the 1.5 months before my result. But then yes, I was very relieved, and I felt that the kind of efforts that I had put into it had paid off. So it was a feeling of relief.
And so when you say that, like, after the interview, and typically how long did it take, after the interview to get the results?
I had my interview on 21st of Feb, and my results came on 5th of April.
So, pretty much 1 month, 1 month, 10 days,
Yeah.
or 15 days. And
Yes.
so 1 month, 15 days, about that 45-day period, were you thinking like, did I do well in the interview? Because, once a person gets through the interview, right, you would be pretty confident, if you can ace that interview, you're in.
Yes, it works that way, but the subjects, the main subjects, they have a greater weightage. So it's kind of both. It's you need to go good in your mains, and you need to go good in your interview, kind of a combination. So you never know. I mean, you might just attempt the interview, but you might have scored very low in your mains, so you won't be able to get through. So it's
So
kind of
you will be able to pick not the first four, like IAS, IPS, IRS, but like IIS or something like that, information services.
Yeah, that'll be there. So, but still, I mean, there are people who miss out on that.
So with 45 days, what was going on? Like, you were pretty chilled or pretty anxiety levels? Or...
No, my anxiety levels had shot up as and when April was coming, and I tried to keep my cool, tried to go out, tried to pretend that nothing was happening, but it was pretty much all in my mind.
And you found out, but just a question, like you've always mentioned in these interviews that I was watching, you only wanted to give it one attempt. Why?
Yes.
So, when you add that, when you add that feeling, you wanted to become an IAS officer, why one attempt?
I over the course of time, when I saw and met people during my preparation who had given the exam for like twice, thrice, and who were trying but not able to get through, I don't know, I had this some fear kind of a thing that I cannot sit through it the second time or third time. If at all I have to do it, I do it in once. So it's more about giving my 100, 200% in the very first go. It is more about not losing out on any detail in the first go. And the kind of zeal that we have, the enthusiasm that we can put in the first thing when we're doing something, I guess that's the highest level. So I don't know, it was my personal thing that I thought that I'll just go for it once.
And why chemical engineering?
So, this turns out very crazy that I liked chemistry a lot in my 12th grade, and I got really good marks in it. So for me, it was like, since I liked chemistry, I might also like chemical engineering, and I was not much into this electronics or computers. So I took that, and as it turned out that, and it had to be that chemical engineering is way too different than chemistry. So I ended up there where I had to study maths and design and everything. But then, end of the day, I loved the subject. It was more about love for chemistry.
And so love for chemistry, and I was hoping you did BPC, right? Biology, physics, chemistry, or
no? I did physics, chemistry, and maths.
MPC
And economics as my elective.
So that's MPC, right? Maths, physics, chemistry.
Yes, and elective I had economics.
Okay, so most people that do MPC want to become doctors in chemistry. People that are really good at chemistry want to go for doctors. And did you have any other profession in mind? Let's say, before IAS, what was your backup plan? Because you only wanted to attempt it once, and let's say if you didn't get in, what was your other plan?
When I started, since I had taken admission to engineering, my natural backup plan would have been working as a chemical engineer somewhere. But during the course of my preparation, for when I got more into it, and I got a hang of what my life will be and what I really want to do all my life, like working for people and everything, then I thought that I don't have to work on any alternative. I did not sit in any campus placements. I did not sit for any interviews. And so I basically went to a place where either I'll make to this exam or I'll join some NGO and start working for the people. So I had just gotten that in my mind.
And so with the journey, and was Srushti always this smart from childhood? Like from third class or fourth class, was she that the class topper, the rank 1 or rank like in the top 10?
No, I didn't used to be rank 1. No, never. I missed out on that. But yes, I used to be somewhere around top 5, somewhere there. I was in a lot of co-curricular activities. I used to play, I used to sing in my school choir, and then a lot of things, whatever came my way. I did karate when I was young. I junior green belt. Then I there's this thing called NCC, National Cadet Corps in India, which is like a uniformed this thing for young students of the school and college. I was sergeant in the NCC. Yes, and so pretty much I tried on everything. I tried my hands on everything that I did on public speaking and all of this. So yeah.
And so during, so you had the interview and everything was over. Then from April, you've got elected as the women motivator for people enrolling. Because elections came up last year.
Yes.
And
yes.
Bhopal, the government of Bhopal, after knowing your results, they invited you to become that ambassador, making sure to encourage women first time voting, right? I guess.
Yes. Yes. Right.
And what was it like? What was the initiatives? That you see,
So,
that you've done.
Yeah, so basically it was like that after my results came out, and since from my city I was the I was a woman, and having got a good rank, it was sort of very much celebrated in my city. So the government called me up and they asked me to become this sweep icon. This is basically voter encouragement. And so I met so many people. I went to colleges and I went to other universities where I met students and asked them to really go there and vote, exercise their important piece of right in a democracy. And I guess that I was able to connect with the students, and they were able to connect because they saw that this is a young woman, so this is something like us. And if she's telling us, probably yes, this is something that we need to be doing. So that way, I enjoyed it.
And so, and when you said voting, right? So we had a question from the readers, like here in Australia, we have to vote. It's a mandatory, or else you get a fine of up to equivalent to $2,000.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So they were asking, what is happening, in countries like India, where there's a huge population. Obviously, China's a dictator country, so nobody has to vote. But a billion people in one country. How does the turnaround work? And when you were educating people about their voting rights, which is a mandatory in a democratic country, and what did you think? What happens if people didn't come and vote?
So basically, it's more about the person themselves coming up to vote, the person themselves exercising their right for choosing their leaders. And we haven't made it mandatory for different kind of reasons. I'll not go into that. But as far as encouraging people to come and vote is, I guess a lot of places there is this kind of thing that even if we vote, we do not get to see the things on ground, and there's some kind of skepticism that people carry. But this is not so with young voters, positively at this point in the country. And that I found really interesting. In my own city, when I went out, people were enthusiastic. The students and the youngsters were there, and they were like, yes, okay, fine, we need to exercise this right, because that's how we elect our leaders, that's how we can play our role in policy making at the higher level. So there was a general level of enthusiasm. But as you're saying, the people who are left out, who don't come to vote, nothing much happens. But what we do is that we can take out the list, and next time when the voting happens, next time when there is an election, we could specifically target those people and encourage them again to come and vote.
So just a question out of curiosity. So when you take that list, right, on average, do you know how many people don't vote in India? Like, per state, are they easily 5 to 10 lakhs or more than that?
I'll tell you the percentage. For example, there are 100 people who are eligible to vote, who are above 18 years of age. The voting percentage is generally around 60 to 70%. And it's a very average figure I'm giving you. So about 60, 70 people out of 100 come to vote. Very good circumstances, it can go to 70, 80.
Yep. So pretty much, and then you probably target those people next time, right? Encouraging them to vote.
Yes. And also, for example, there are elderly at home. They're persons especially abled. So we make sure that our voting booths are accessible to them. And these are some additional things that we do.
And normally we always get these questions regarding, that we call them EVMs, right? The
electronic voting machines.
And there is a electioner officer on duty normally.
Yes.
So that person
Yes.
is qualified IAS or is a state level person?
It depends on from state to state. For example, in a district, the district magistrate, who can be an IS, mostly will be, or who can be a state service officer. He
Got it.
would be he would be the returning officer. The term goes returning officer as the election head of the district. So he's the one managing the voter rolls, the people who will come, how they come, and whether or not the EVM machines are, how they are kept safe, and how they are, how the counting is done. So everything is under his control.
And so the elections happened in, I guess, pretty much April, May last year. And
It depends.
yeah. So after this role, were you entitled to a different role, or you had to go to your academy for your foundation course?
No, that was just a temporary thing for the election. I was appointed that, and then we had the elections, and it was over. Then I moved to my academy about end of August.
So end of August, that's the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy.
Yes.
A lot of admirers in India. A lot of people like it. It's the place to be in Missouri, right?
Yes. Yes.
And it's the best campus one can get in India. The place, the weather, the
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to be a photographer at all to get good photos. There are hills at the backdrop. There is it's Himalayas after all. You can see snow-clad mountains when the clouds aren't there. And seeing snow-clad mountains right from your class is a very good thing to see. So yeah.
LB, it's a very special place. We can call this a selective place, because there are only toppers in LB, because everyone has to do the exams, and then they all come to the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy for their foundation.
Yes.
And
yes,
what were the things like, the batches, the friendships, because it's all toppers. Everybody's there, they have their own reasons, they have their own struggle, they have their own, own stories, how they did this, and
yeah.
what were the things like, at the start?
Yeah, I'll share with you two aspects of it. First thing is that, when you enter that place, you are adulated back at your home. But when you go there are people like you. I mean, they have been adulated back home, but now what? I mean, you're all equals, you're all IAS officers, you're all IPS officers, and the environment there is such that we have our teachers who are IAS officers themselves. So they make us feel, or they actually bring us down on the ground, that hey, it's okay that you've cracked this exam, but now it's the time that you need to be trained for what you have really written this exam for. So you're meeting people who are toppers on their own, but now you start seeing them as persons with extremely different personalities, with different traits, qualities, have their own talents, and not just studying. Somebody does photography, somebody loves singing, some play piano. So you start seeing people for what they are beyond this exam. That's very interesting. Second aspect, which I'll tell you, is that every person has a story of their own, and a story of struggle, a story of dedication, a story of how they came through. I'll share the story of two women. One is from Maharashtra. Now, she's Archana, and she has cracked this exam when she is like around 32 years of age. She has a little baby who is about like 5 years old. So, and she prepared for this exam away from home, away from her family, away from her daughter. And so this story motivated us so much that, somebody could give that much for this exam, for the society, for being able to be in a position to do something. We were really motivated. Secondly, I'll tell you the story of Rehana. She's from Kashmir, and Kashmir is a place which is very beautiful, but she was there as a doctor. She was studying, but she had very less resources. Internet was an issue, but she still studied, and she got through. She was the first person from the entire state, Jammu and Kashmir, as it was then, to crack the exam with such a good rank. So you come to know people's stories. You come to know about what they are as persons, and it's amazing to know.
And you are provided. So it's a classes Monday to 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, it starts from Monday to Friday, and it classes from about pretty much 10 o'clock in the morning to around 3 o'clock, 3 to 4 o'clock in the evening. And then we are free to pursue whatever we want to, our activities. We have sports complex, we have music rooms, We have theater, a lot of things, activities that we can pursue.
And when you say 10 to 3, 10 to 4, right? And they're like proper college classes, like, lectures, seminars.
Yes, pretty much.
And is it more interactive when you come to Lal Bahadur Shastri?
Absolutely. It is very much interactive. We are encouraged to ask questions. We are encouraged to be free and be free about, feel free to ask. And there are people from different backgrounds who've come there, some who have put up like 25 years of their life in service, some who've not been in service, have been in some NGO, but are working for the society. We get to interact with a lot of people, and that opens up our mind. And we slowly start getting a hang of the system. How does it work? We are taught law of the country, the criminal procedure code, the Indian penal code. We are taught how to conduct, how to write orders that way. So it's a well-rounded training.
And so after the training, so you've gone on field trips, camps, to places. And
Yes.
where was your trip?
So basically pretty much first every Saturday we have this treks, Himalayan trek. Because we're living in the Himalayas, there are so many treks we could do. So every Saturday we used to take a trek of about 10, 20 kilometers. And we used to get tired. But now when I look back, I felt that was like really good views. I could see trekking. That was the first time I was exposed to trekking in my life. It was amazing. After that, we were taken to a trip called the Winter Study Tour, which is called colloquially Bharat Darshan. And I went to Kashmir. I went to, then I straightway went to Goa, Lakshadweep Islands, Karnataka I explored, and Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. So we have different routes in the country, basically covered around 8 to 10 states, and we are divided into 10 groups of people each, 18 people each. So I got that chance. Another thing is that we have a Himalayan trek of 10 days proper. I went to Himachal Pradesh to Chandranahan Lake, and there it's like you don't have any facilities in the hills. You got to live in the tents. There could be snow coming up anytime. And it's very chilly, very cold, but really amazing.
And so that field trips, camps, obviously more exciting, because you're getting that step closer to that, your everybody wants to graduate, obviously best days in the academy, but you want to be in the field.
Yes.
And right now you are posted in the city of Dinduri as a assistant collector, probationary period.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And how is it feeling right now? The minute that you took charge, as assistant collector.
It's really a dream come true when you see that assistant collector under training behind your name, when you see the 3 letters of the IAS behind your name. It's definitely a dream come true. But what gives me more pleasure is that when I go to the field, when I talk to the people, when I see how they live, when I talk to them about their problems, their issues, and then I know that one phone call, one thing, some little effort from my side could bring a change in their lives. That I love the most about this job. And I guess that the more time I spend, I'll be able to do that more.
And so when you say right now, so posted in the city of Dinduri, and you've got to, can you tell us about Dinduri, about your district?
Yes, yeah, sure. So my district Dindori is in like the southeast end of Madhya Pradesh. It borders Chhattisgarh state as well. This is a district in which 64% of the population is scheduled tribes. That means there are tribes ranging from Baigas to Gond and Agaria. These are the 3 prominent tribes that we have. And one of them, the Baiga, is a primitive tribal group. That means they are the oldest settling people in the central Indian territory. So it's almost like, seeing human evolution in its own ways. The people live there, they have their own way of living. And it's really amazing to see how they continue to carry on their culture and live. So apart from that, we have a lot of vegetation here. There's a place called Amarkantak, from which the Narmada River originates. So a lot of forest and nice natural views.
And so, so when you have to travel a lot in your district?
As of now, it's like it's on my own whether I want to do or not. But I personally like it, so I'm more into a field and travel and everything.
So, but you're currently based in the main city, right? Dinduri.
Yes, yes.
So that's where you're, that's where you're staying in the government, the one that they provide the quarters.
Yes, yes. I'm staying in my government rest house, and I almost every day, pretty much about 4 days in a week, I'm on field. I take around 2 hours trip to go to the peripheries of the district, to go into the interior forest villages, and that I really like. So I take those trips.
And most people ask me, it's not. I know it's not a 9 to 5 day job. It's because you don't know what happens. Can you tell us, like normally, how long are you working right now? For example, what time are you starting your daily routine, and what time are you finishing? And sometimes when it goes late, are you able to walk
Yeah.
us through those instances?
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So what happens is that right now I'm on probation. I don't have any independent charge. Getting an independent charge means that you will be posted as CEO of a block, or you will be posted as a tehsildar, which is a revenue officer, or you will be posted as an SDM, a subdivisional magistrate. Now these are independent charges. When I get independent charges, I'll have to sign files. I will have to work through assignments myself. Right now, I don't have an independent charge. It's pretty much like I can explore on my own what I want to. But still, I set out around at 9 o'clock in the morning. Before that, I go for a walk at around 7:30 for a morning walk. Literally freshens me up. And after office at 9, I do some assignments in the collectorate office. And in the second half after lunch, I go for a field trip. If I've gone far, it might take around 7:30 or 8 to come back. Otherwise, I'm home by 6.
So, and even if you're like, let's say when you get posted, right, as a assigned post, that's going to be a year later because you're under probationary for 1 year.
See, under probation also, I would be given independent charges. So
Okay.
maybe about like 2-3 months down the line, I might be posted as CEO of a block, which is a subordinate post to what I will be getting after probation. But the learning part is that if you learn the roots of it, if you learn the base, you will be, and from the bottom up, then you will be able to monitor the work when you are there at the apex position. So that's the whole idea, and that's why I'll be given independent charges with the subordinate positions.
And so with the independent positions, as you mentioned, you have to work through your own assignments, you have to be signing papers and things. And your above officers, is it a typical 9 to 5 day job?
Definitely not. I'll walk you through one instance. When I came here after a week, we have this COVID situation. So it was around 10 at night, and my subdivision magistrate, sir, he called me up and he said that, Srushti, we have a case right now. We have detected COVID case has come positive, and I want you to come with me and see for yourself how do we go about by the standard operating procedure. So I had all settled up with my thing, and I was about to really doze off early that night. But then I got a call, and so at night I was out. We went there. We somehow got to find that this person had come from a different district. He was traveling. He had gone home, and then he had come to the quarantine center. Those were the initial days. So there was a kind of issue of mismanagement, and how to go about by this. So then found out that he had gone home. So and his home was like 50 kilometers away. So we traveled all the way at night to his home. We got all of his family members from there in an ambulance. We got them quarantined in a different center at the headquarters. That night I came home around 1:30 or 2. So this is the job of the person who is in charge. If something happens and the leadership is demanded, you will have to be on the field.
And if normally when you say you're traveling at night and things like that, you are assigned a driver to take care wherever
Yes,
you want.
yes.
And typically, like, let's say 2 or 3 more cases, you have to work at night times, for 1 or 2 days. You'll be tired, you'll be quite stressed out, and you guys are trained to go through these situations. Like an IPS officer being trained, at 9 times, only working, sleeping for 4 or 5 hours a day, for a period of 5 or 6
Yes, very
days.
much possible.
You need to be trained. You never know what happens and what district you get posted.
Yes. So the unpredictability of the job is that you don't know where we posted. You don't know how that place will be. You every place has its own challenges, has its own things that it has to offer to you. So I think the job is more about adapting yourself into situations, being able to provide leadership where people won't even know you. And if you are posted in a district and none of your subordinates know you initially, and it is a time of a disaster, suppose there's this COVID going on, you are posted in a district and you have to manage it. And so you have to do it. I mean, you have to make sure, you have to pull your strings, find out how things work out, talk to people, interact with them. It's more about man management and about providing leadership. And but I guess that's the charm of the job. So yeah.
And so leadership, and so a lot of things are involved, and it's a on the spot decision making.
Yes.
And so are you ever like, what's the feeling, because you're representing your district, and obviously people look at you, as the head, because I know the prime minister can't take care of me. That's the fact. I need to look up to my, people in the state, civil services, or, my state people, that are managing that collectorate offices. And what's the, the feeling, or, more than obviously it's patriotic, government servant, but what's the feeling, when you're representing these people, and, with every decision you take, has an impact, whether you're a good officer or a bad officer, it's going to have an effect on this.
Yes. So
go through.
It's really, in the first instance, it's really exciting to see that the kind of impact that your actions can have. And then you realize that if you are working in a positive direction, you can really bring change into the lives of so many people. And you start taking inspiration from little things that happen. I'll just narrate one incident here, just to make sure I connect with you what I'm talking about. I was coming back from a field trip, and I happened to stop in a community health center. Now, it's called a CHC. It's a public health center, but at the block level. I just happened to stop by. I was talking to the doctor. I was checking on the COVID patients, and are there any patients? Are there any suspects, like that? And he was telling me about the infant mortality there, that the children under 5 years of age are dying right after birth. That comes in under infant mortality. And he told me that it's sort of high in that area. And when I found out more, that there was one lady at the hospital who had given birth 3 days ago. She had given birth to two twins, two babies, and who were underweight. And so the doctor was recommending them to go to the district hospital, the headquarters, which was around 50-60 kilometers away. But the lady was refusing. She was saying that I am not going to take my kids, and I don't want to go. I'll go back home, no matter what happens. I was a little bit surprised, and I asked the doctor if I could talk to that lady. That evening, I spent around half an hour to 45 minutes convincing that lady that you have to be for your kids and you should be going. What I found out was that she was afraid. She was scared of going to a city, going to a new place. She was like, I've never been to that place. How will I be able to manage alone and everything? So I talked to the nurse there at the hospital. I made sure that all arrangements will be made for her and her babies will be taken care of. And finally, she agreed. I went yesterday to check on her. So both of her babies had recovered from jaundice. They had started feeding. And so I came home, returned satisfied. The two babies who would have gone home, who would not have been cared for as it was required for them, came just because of the persuasion, just because of the time that I spent there. I was really happy. So these are the very small incidences. For me, it was just half an hour. But maybe for the kids, it was more to do with their health, their life. So these are the incidences that motivate you and keep you going.
Definitely, like, when you talk about these incidents, right? And especially asking you, when, with the districts, Dinduri is a huge district, and, Dinduri is just a small town itself. And then there are so many tribal areas located in different places, right? And
yes,
how do you guys manage? Like, how do you guys manage? Let's say, somebody suffering, from a health problem, or let's say, kind of an health situation, and, it's far away from the district, like, as you said, 70 or 80 kilometers. How does the travel arrangements will be made? Like, for the lady, is it a government ambulance that takes them over? And, in terms
yes,
of revenue generation, if they don't have that funds to be cared for.
Yes. So that's why the government has made arrangements for vehicles. We have ambulances. We have specific ambulances for pregnant ladies. So, for example, if there's an emergency of delivery of birth, though that specific ambulance would go there. And now the conditions are still better. Earlier, there were cases where there were no roads, there were bridges, there were no bridges, so the areas would get cut off when excessive monsoon or rainfall would come in. Now that things are a lot better, ambulances can go in, and so we have these government arrangements made. But still, there are people, I would also say that there are some areas which are too far, too remote. So those additional efforts have to be taken.
And when it comes to that situation, like, depends on each district. And as you mentioned, the lady was refusing, lack of education or lack of exposure skills.
Yes.
Because not
Yeah.
every state in India is as developed as a city. And
Sure.
when it comes to that perspective, of convincing someone, and how does this happen? Like, so, what do you guys tend to implement, or know what goes on your mind? Because you've got to convince a person. It's not that easy to convince someone from a tribal place who's not.
It was not. It was not. I mean, to share my personal experience, it was really not. I was personally very, very sad in my mind that how unfortunate is it that I'm telling her that your kids will be taken care of, but her family members were refusing. She was refusing. But then I started looking more, and then I found out that there was this fear. She's never been exposed to that area. She feels that the area is so far away. She feels she won't be taken care of. So these were the things that were going on in her mind. And when I reassured her, when I told her that you will be taken care of and everything will be taken care of, and your kids will live a better life, and because the initial period, the initial care that is given to these preterm babies matters so much for their overall health all their lives. So I guess I could see through the psychology of why she was refusing. And now I know that if we have to work, we just don't have to arrange ambulances. We also need to create awareness among women and people about the good practices.
And obviously,
so when you go into the field, you get to know more.
And as you mentioned, and you were talking about that privileged and unprivileged part, of education and things like that. And what is your message that you can normally give our viewers that, regarding, when it comes to mental aspect of someone's life, there are unprivileged people out there still surviving, still battling, against poverty, against so many things,
Absolutely.
that come across. And being a person in that privileged state, obviously suicide is not an option. But what can you give us, as a mentally, to be mentally strong? What are the tips and tricks that one can go through?
Yes. So just carrying forward from this incident, the brother-in-law of the lady was there, and he told me one thing. He said, "Madam, you will go away, but I need to let go of my daily wage to come to see my sister-in-law there, and I can't do that." So something is that people are underprivileged. People are very less privileged than you, but they continue to live their lives with their resource constraints. One takeaway for me was that whatever condition I am facing, let's understand there's somebody else also there who is facing that or is in situation worse than that. So for mentally, you should you should feel that you're not the only person. We get cornered because we feel that we are the only person in the world who's facing this. But let's understand there can be other people. There are other people who have worse circumstances, but who continue to live, who continue to persevere, and continue working hard in their lives. So mentally, don't corner yourself ever. Second thing that I have learned in my own life, and I would go a little back when I was preparing or when I was in school, I had these situations when I felt blacked out. I felt like go further. I don't know what to do. But then as I had written in my post as well recently, that I opened up to my friends. I told them without fearing that they'll judge me. And thankfully, I had friends who did not judge me for what I was going through. They told me what they felt was right. And sometimes one thing that they said was completely changed my perspective about it. So I guess you should be talking about what you're facing. Don't corner yourself. Life is too precious to be, to be sad and to be wasted and being sad and worried. But yes, accept that life could take you through bad times, but you just have to persevere, and good days do come.
Definitely, I think that's a very good message for the international students. out here in Melbourne, life, you can't, you've got to open up. And obviously there are a lot of people going through so many things. And, with COVID kicking in, obviously lockdown in India, and people are not even earning daily wages. And there are families
Absolutely.
living there happily, there are families, living, for, 10,000 rupees in India, and they're way happier than, people who are earning, millions of dollars. And
That's so true.
and that's a very good message that you've given our viewers today, that don't you've got to open up, and something, someone or some instances, depending on the time, or when you listen to it, it can change your own perspective.
Yeah, that's so true.
And so I've got a couple of questions. And being a woman, and obviously it's different in India. Gender bias, I wish I could say it does not exist, but I do run campaigns, girls can code, and these kind of things, and we knew, it does exist. It's a fact. We all have to be open about it, and we all have to do something. And even in the corporate sector, from my experience, we all say men and women are equal, but women in the same role as me can get underpaid. And
Yes, true.
with India, it's a bit different perspective. With women, not being not being treated the same, or even if they're being treated as the same in city places, rural places, it's quite different. And what's your experience? Achieved rank 5 and things like that, and in your childhood days and up until now, what can you give us?
Sure. I'll give you a perspective from two instances. So while I was young, um, there was this whole issue about one side of my family members were like, you should be learning cooking, you should be learning how to, you should be knowing how to do things, keep things in order, organize the home, help your mother out, and things like that. So there was this whole issue. So you come to know that since being a girl, you would be tagged with having certain qualities, and also doing some kind of particular work in your family or outside. Thankfully, my mother and my father were like, it's okay if you don't know cooking, it's okay if you don't spend time with it. That way I was lucky. But there are a lot of women, there are a lot of girls who are not lucky as that, who are encouraged to marry early, who are encouraged to take up jobs. For example, there are some cliched jobs like in India, for example, we have this job of a teacher, a job of a professor, a nurse, or a receptionist, a front desk office worker. These are the jobs which are encouraged for women. But jobs like being in the army, being in the civil service, being in the police, or something like doing a corporate job, which is a very high pressure. Things are changing now, but I'm more referring to the rural part of the country. There, these things are still a taboo. So we have this gender bias a little bit existing. But I personally feel that the first step towards working against this, working for a world which is equal, working for a world which gives women equal opportunity, the first step towards is recognizing that something is wrong. And once we start recognizing, we can think about ways to go further. Second instance that I'll quote is the very day that my sir called at 10 at night, and I was there on field. There were some doctors who advised me. They said, "You go home, ma'am. You don't have to come all the way 50 kilometers, and it'll be late at night." That was one thing which I felt that they were saying because I was a woman officer. I guess if there was a male officer, they would not have said that, "Ma'am, you should go home." But then I said that, "No, sir, I have to come. I need to see how it's done, and I don't have any issues in coming." So, you have these subtle instances that happen. But as we have been trained in the academy, as I had interactions with my mentors at the academy, my teachers have told me that, this will come in. There will be people who will feel that you won't be enough. You can't put in that amount of effort. You can't be that efficient. But it's only by your performance that you will show them that you are equally capable. So those are the battles that we'll keep fighting.
And I'll go to Karan. Karan's the president of Student Entrepreneurship Network, RMIT. And Karan,
Hello.
can you hear me right? Karan?
Your voice is not edible.
Is it better right now?
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Very, very, very on low volume. I'm trying. Go on.
Okay, I was wondering, so you've got a couple of questions for Srushti, right? So you can pitch them up right now.
Um, yeah. So first of all, many congratulations on securing the post of an IAS officer. Uh,
Thank
so
you.
as you mentioned in the beginning, that there was this one passion or one drive that kept on driving you towards following your passion. Is there some advice that you'd like to give to the youth, the current youth, that what they should focus more on to follow their passion?
It's since it's passion, it's personal. So I will say that you should be doing this. You should be start studying for this exam. But one thing that I'll say that finding the goal in your life, having that passion for doing something is really important. When you have a goal, when you have decided that you'll be going into this field or you'll be pursuing this, your entire perspective changes. Your entire energies could be concentrated, flow to that one thing. So explore your life, read books, talk to people, go out, travel, find out what you like, or find out what your passion is, and then head straight in that area.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I should try to follow my passion now.
What's your passion, by the way?
Uh, as I just, I'm passionate towards networking and starting new businesses and startups, as they call it. So I'm trying to do something. You fail sometimes. You work hard sometimes. Sometimes you achieve. Sometimes you don't achieve. So I'm just trying to keep on going.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Karan is
That's
like
about it. Thank you so much.
Karan works with a lot of entrepreneur startups, and he's also
Okay.
the founder of the Smart Entrepreneur. So yeah, so he works with he likes working with the new startups rather than corporate giants.
All right. That's nice.
I've got Prashant. Prashant,
Yep. Yes, Macha. Can you guys hear me?
yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yep. By the way, congrats, Srushti, for the remarkable achievement.
Thank you so much.
Hi. Yeah. So I got one. I think you would have given a hell lot of interviews, and most common questions you might have come across. So, I mean, achieving is one part. Then executing, executing it is one part. So
Yes.
probably you might be aware of the person Jay Prakash Narayan, who was
Yes.
a IAS officer in 1980. Like he
Oh,
secured a
yes.
rank 5
Mhm.
to be precise, if I'm
Oh,
not
is
wrong.
it that? I didn't know.
So yeah, that's the thing. So right now he is retired IAS officer, volunteer retirement. So I came across the person, the first IAS officer. So I asked him. So he was very privileged to have the government position and that constitutional position, but he gave up that position and he got into the politics where he couldn't succeed. I mean, every party has tremendous how do I say, like, respect towards him, but he couldn't reach out people and uh, uh, I mean, endorse his ideology. And you being from Bhopal, which is in the heartland, where the actual Indian politics takes place, which is completely a
Yes.
gray area. To be precise, there cannot be white and black. Especially when you are in that position, you cannot go with the white and black. You got to play around the bushes. I mean, there are too much sensitivity in that place. So how do you act? How are you planning to tackle those kind of aspects, especially in India, if you see the place you come from?
Yeah, right. So yes, these things are there, and we don't take it as a very specific kind of a thing of a problem in the job. I guess every job, for that matter, has its own positives, negatives, some gray areas, or things like that. So I would personally take it as that, as a part of the job. That's one. Second thing is that when it comes to tackling, the politicians, so specifically to speak, are elected representatives, and they are the ones who are who have the support of the backing of the people. So if there is some good input that they're giving, there's some prioritizing that they're doing, which is possible within the four corners of the law, I would say we could go forward with it. But third thing that I have in my mind is that ultimately the quality or the virtue of integrity is most important, and so I would be carrying that forward in all that I do. And so personally, I don't have much of a field experience right now, as you know it. But my perspective is that you need to get things done. Work shouldn't be stopping. And we will somehow maneuver. We will learn to communicate, to persuade, to negotiate. And I guess that's how we'll keep going forward in the system.
That's great. And I hope you do that. I mean,
All right. Thank you
inspire
so
us
much.
in that aspect. Yeah.
Thanks, Prashant. I'll go to Viditi.
Hi, Kaushal.
Viditi, Viditi is the RMIT, the current Indian Club president.
Oh, wow. That's great to know, Vidhi.
Thank you. Congratulations to you, Srushti. Like at a young age, you have accomplished so much, and it's such a coincidence that I belong to the same state. I'm from Jabalpur, and
Oh, is
I
it?
visit.
I am in your division only.
Yes, and I have visited Tanduri and Amarkantak as well, where you work. And
Yeah.
basic coincidences that I've been a karate and an NCC cadet as well. So it's a great there.
That's nice.
And I'm really amazed, like how you said that the time when you were busy in studying, and there were friends of yours who used to go out and have weekends and have the time of their teenage life and their youth time. But you said you had few friends, right? So there is one thing that people have to choose their company that motivates you, that really matters, because it is very important for you to choose a wise company. So if you can give us some, like in my case also, I have three very best friends of mine who are just like the friends you explain of yours. So just if you can give a guideline of to the youth today, to young people, how can they choose a wise company? Because right now all they would focus is on things that doesn't matter much, like for online social media things, or hanging out and being cool, and things that matter to them right now. But they have to also think on long terms, and they have to be very sure of the company they choose. So if you can just give us some guidelines on that, that will be really nice.
That's so true. I mean, what you said with the social media thing, that we are virtually connected to thousands and millions of people, but of course we can't go on and share with them our personal stories or talk to them face to face. So these issues are there, and I guess what I realized early on, that there are people who might also want to pull you down. That's very unfortunate, but that is sort of true. There are people
Yes.
who might feel that you shouldn't be going forward with this, or might be skeptical, overly cynical about what you're going about. So when you've decided a goal, what I did was that I would be just completely filling myself and my environment with positivity. Anybody who pulls me down, anybody who tells me I can't do it, anybody who tells me that, who's cynical about it, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk to you right now. I'll get back to you after the result. So that's what I told myself, and so I really cut myself off from those people, in those situations, and I sort of concentrated on the positives of my life. So just find your group of your friends, find your circle. People might make fun of you. You might be called too individualistic. You might be called a bit selfish sometimes. But if you have your close circle of friends, they know what you're doing. You will get through. So be very wise while you choose your company, and just sort of be yourself, and focus more on what you have thought of achieving, the goal in your life. Prioritize that over things.
Thank you, Srushti. That's really wise of you. And there was one more thing that I really listened to you carefully, that when you were explaining about your daily routine, like how you get to your work by 9, and you make sure that you have a morning walk as well at 7, and that's very healthy of you. So You know, as you said that you made sure of your company. So what were the other healthy habits that you maintained during your journey? Like one was your exercising, your morning walk, but we have other healthy habits as well, like, meditation or reading books. So would you like to share some of?
Yeah, sure. So during my preparation, of course, reading books was not on the agenda because doing that all day. So you'd rather avoid doing it. But then I was into yoga. My mother's a yoga teacher. So I learned yoga
Okay.
from her. And I am into that as well. If I don't get to go out for a morning walk because of rain, I'd rather do yoga at home. That's one. Second thing was meditation. I really liked spending about half an hour to 15-20 minutes every day, just sitting, breathing, feeling your breath, not going through your thoughts and cutting off yourself, just closing your eyes. So yes, meditation was also something which I did. And third was listening to songs, my favorite set of songs and tunes which motivated me, which sort of boosted me up when I was sad and down. So these three things I kept going on.
That's very nice. Like the personality that you hold is very rare to find. So it's really amazing of you.
Thank you so
And
much.
thanks for talking with us today, because really, like, people who achieve most, we can learn a lot. Like as you said, people have motivation.
And I
Learn
personally would like
things.
to say one thing to all of you there, who there away from the country, who have that connection, who want to talk to people back in the country who are working so hard. I mean, really, congratulations to you guys for making it there, for being there, for being able to get an education, get an environment which is which we back here we feel that it's really nice, getting to do great things, and we admire you so much. And but then when you get to know that you face struggles of your own there, I would give just one thing, that be proud of you, very proud of you that you're there, that you are making it, you're studying so hard there, you're balancing your jobs and doing everything, and keep doing it. Back in the country, we're really proud. Keep working hard. Whatever career you choose, whether you come back to the country or not, you make us proud. So have that feeling in mind, and that's what I would like to tell all of you.
Thank you, Srushti.
Thanks, Viditi. And just we've got a couple of questions to you from our how do you balance work and life responsibilities?
Yeah, so I when I'm at work, I'm totally into it. I would not get distracted by anything. But when I'm home at about 6, and if I don't have anything to study or anything, if I don't have to go through any schemes, laws, anything, I do some sketching. I listen to a lot of songs. I talk to my parents. I video call my friends. So I take out about 2, 3, 4 hours, 2, 3 hours at least in the day doing this. And what I've realized is that those 2, 3 hours are my pack of energy for the next day. If I don't do that, I would feel sleepy. I would feel very tired at work. So I have realized that the life part of it, is the saying work-life balance, is really important, and you need to take out time for yourself and your family. That is something which keeps me charged and boosted.
So this question's from one of the followers on Instagram. So they said, "Ma'am, I'm in year 10 right now, and due to COVID situation, so this is from India, and I'm in year 10 right now, and due to COVID situation and everything, we just had the exam, and I'm quite struggling, to take down notes, and with so many subjects happening, with so much things happening, I'm just struggling to take down notes. What is your um, what can you what advice can you give in terms of taking down notes?
I would just confirm, is it regarding UPSC or she's giving some other exam?
No, so this is in. So she hasn't mentioned anything, but she just mentioned in terms of examination.
Okay.
Taking.
So she has to give an exam right now, or she did it? She has to, right?
Wasn't decided by the government yet. Some states,
Oh, okay.
some states automatic pass, the others not automatic pass.
All
most.
right.
Yeah. So she said, in terms of note taking too many subjects, what can I do?
Okay, so see, first feeling is that you're overwhelmed. I get that, we all are. There are situations where there's less time, but you have to achieve more. But also understand that it's not only with you. all of the people who will be given the exam this year will be facing with the same thoughts. So don't corner yourself, don't get overwhelmed, don't get under pressure. What you are facing, so many of us are. Second thing is that, manage your time really well. Make your proper routine. Set out the papers that you have, see what are the subjects, see what are the past year questions that are being asked, see what work you've already done and build on it. Make a proper routine and see the subjects which you are interested in, which you find difficult. Prioritize the one which you feel difficult so that you can give more time to it. And as far as note taking is concerned, keep your reference books handy and making a plan and follow it, prioritize it, use your time well.
And so following on, again, one more question, regarding, UPSC preparation. In terms of note taking, how did you start note taking? Where did you start your journey in terms of?
As far as UPSC specifically is concerned, newspapers are very important for the exam. So I used to read the editorials of the newspapers and I used to make my own notes out of it. That you'll be able to do once you are through the syllabus and the past year papers. That way you know the demand of the exam. So find out what it is, keep reading the newspaper, keep noting down important perspectives, that important arguments that come in the newspaper, and that's the way to go.
And question, being in the, so I'll ask this towards the end. So what changes have occurred in your life after getting such a designation?
Oh yeah, so a lot of changes occur. Until now you are a student, you're busy studying with your books and everything. Now you've got a job. Now you realize the importance of weekends. Now you realize that you have to go to work and you have to be on field, you have to provide leadership. So a lot of things have changed. My perspective about life has changed. My routine has changed. But the best part about it is that what I had in my mind that I would be doing, I am now practically doing it. So I just go in and talk to people. I give my best. I try to learn as much as I can so that I can be good at the job.
And
also it's really good to inspire people. It's really good that I get to interact with so many people. Sometimes they know me, sometimes they don't, but then when I talk to them and the interaction part of it, I guess, is the best with this job.
That's fine. So we've got one more question from Instagram itself. Say, will you be ever interacting with your fans on Instagram?
Oh, is it? Haven't thought about it as yet. But since you've mentioned, I'll see what I can do.
They've also mentioned the answer. So, before I reveal the next sentence, I want you to, say what you think.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think about it. I haven't thought about it as yet, but I'll look into it in weeks to come.
And so this is a question from me because I've read a lot of articles, towards, Akshat and, the Kanshik, all the top. I've read about 5 or 6 articles that said social media. You guys were away from social media during your preparation until you went to the Shastri National Academy or until this year. And that's a common factor among all the topics that are sustained really good scores.
Yeah, so it's very personal, I guess. But for me, it was like if I enter into conversations, if I talk to people, I'd rather get distracted. I'd rather go on watching YouTube instead of WhatsApping my friend my notes. So I personally thought that I should be closing on that. I closed my WhatsApp account. I still till date don't have a Facebook account. All that are there are not mine. They're just by some people who are posting my notes and everything. I opened an Instagram account after my selection. So that's pretty much it. I personally felt that I'd be distracted or I won't be able to devote enough time to my preparation. So that's why I did it.
And definitely, and now you've achieved this. And what's your take on social media? It's the
social media. I would say is a double-edged sword, and you need to understand this that. You can share pictures, you can be connected to people. There's a positive side of it. But then also the negative side is people could give you some negative comments, some negative feedback, and there could be people who you would never even meet. And but then you should understand what social media is for. It's for sharing, it's for interacting with people, but to an extent. Understand that your real emotions, your happiness, your personal satisfaction is your own, and it could be away from the virtual world as well. So I guess you should understand the level to.
Preeti and Prashant.
Am I visible?
Yep, that's fine. Sorry, we just had a connection drop out.
Yeah.
So the webcam's not on.
Wait just a moment. No, I guess there's some issue with the connection because my webcam is on.
That's fine. You can start speaking. We can still hear you.
I guess you need to make some change from the host side. It's saying that the host has disabled it.
Oh, I haven't disabled it. It should be on. Can you try right now?
Not as yet.
You do?
I guess it's below.
That's fine. You can't still see it, miss, but no, you can still So you can hear us, right?
Yes.
So coming back to the question, and if moving on, what is the thing that you can give, to the developers or to the IT experts out there, that when making a social media or when making an application, what do you think is needed to make sure that everybody gets a fair go?
Could you just repeat your question, Kaushal? I got disconnected. I couldn't hear you.
So to the developers out there that are building the social media apps.
Yes.
So what is something that you can give us in terms of your like an opinion that what are people like actually looking for, rather than building a social media platform that it can be used in a good or a bad way.
Yeah, it can be.
But obviously, what is something that you advise that you can give the developers to start working on in terms of as a social responsibility side of things?
I just stress on privacy much more. I guess people come on social media platforms, but
We had discussion.
Kaushal, there is some issue. I'm getting disconnected.
Yep. I don't know. I think it's a network issue with your side.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
So, what is the the advice that you can give to developers in terms of?
I got your question.
Yep.
Yeah, I got your question. So I was answering. I just say that there could be much more focus on privacy as much as it can be. Because I guess people come on social media platforms, but how much data they're willing to share? Are they willing to reveal their identities or not? How much they're willing to let the other person know whether or not they have seen their messages or anything? I guess more and more of privacy, more and more control to the user. How he decides to reveal and how it is done, I guess that is something which I'd focus on. But I'd also say that it's not much about technology, it's also about how.
We had a discussion. Yep.
Yeah, it's more about how we interact and how personal conversations happen. So I guess we need to have some training we need to have some exposure of this in our schools about social media. How do we go forward, especially for the students who would be using it for the first time? I guess that needs to come in more instead of changes on the technological side.
Definitely. And thanks for the advice, and thanks for joining us out here today, and giving us your sharing your thoughts, your journey, as well as your preparation days. And we thank you on.
It was my pleasure that I got an opportunity. Thank you so much.
And thanks for going out there, and protecting our country in the during the toughest time of the decade, of the century, probably guess, with the COVID-19. And thanks for doing that.
All right. Thank you so much.
All good. Thank you.